2. I am Peju Bamgboshe Roethlisberger.
Hi everyone, and I'm Naomi Bamgboshe.
And thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and to subscribe to the channel, the home of the Bamgboshe Happy Hour. All right, Ma, let's get things started off the right way. We want to give a toast, and I don't know who we should be toasting to at this point, but let's do our toast.
Let's give a toast and a shout out to love at any age. Young love, old love, in between love. Okay?
All right.
Okay. Long life, health, wealth, growth, prosperity to love. Salud.
Salud. Okay. So we start off this episode, and I want to tell you guys, I thought this was going to be the finale, but it was not. It ended on a cliffhanger, but let's get started. So we know that Mel has gone to Antigua with 2 ladies, Peg and Cindy. Yay! So each of them gets their special date. But before the dates begin, we have Mel sitting down talking to the host Jesse and saying to Jesse that he's avoided saying "I love you" to anyone. So, well, anyone on the show, I might add. So he has not told Peg and he has not told Sydney that he loves them. So moving forward, the date with Peg, we have them on the dune buggy. They're going to, some adventurous stuff in Antigua. It looked like a lot of fun. They had a champagne picnic, candlelight dinner, and dancing on the beach. Now, Peg hasn't said that she's falling for Mel until really this episode, and she tells the camera that she hopes that she will be engaged. Now, Mel was initially cautious with Peg, but he opens up after. What do you think happens, Ma? Would you like to? I really, really like you a lot. I love the way you make me feel. He didn't say I love you, but he said I love the way you make me feel.
Yeah.
Will you accept the fantasy suite invitation? And what does she say, Ma? What does Peg say?
Yay!
And the next morning, we see them all showered up and relaxed and smiles and looking very intimate and like they had some type of connection, we might want to add. So, it looks like they had a good time. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but to me, the chemistry that he has with Peg was pretty good. What are your thoughts on their little connection there?
Well, let's see. You know what? I'm really just very reluctant to say anything. I'm hesitant to make any kind of commitment because I've seen this before.
Okay.
Yeah. And everybody was all, roses and daffodils and moonlight and stars and, in the heat of the night. Mm-hmm. Okay, whole lot of promises made, right?
Yes.
But when the morning comes, I don't know. All that means is that they had a wonderful time. I don't know if it'll turn into a commitment, but I will say they had wonderful chemistry during this date. Wonderful sexual chemistry during this date. So I would say that's a positive. That's a plus.
Okay. And then
don't know if it's enough. But that's a plus.
I saw chemistry between them. I saw, like I said, I don't know if I want Peg to be with Mel, but they have good chemistry, and they look good as a couple. Let's see what that means. Okay?
Absolutely. That's where I'm at with it.
Cindy, the other woman, her date was a boat ride and a stingray encounter, followed by a candlelight dinner on a pier. Now, Sydney had been confessing her love to Mel for a while. She did it last week, and now she worries that Mel isn't feeling the same way. So she's hoping that he'll open up. she starts questioning, like, about him getting married so later in life the first time. Why did he wait? And, she's like, you still have the same outcome as me, who got married early in life. You still wound up breaking up. But they both were in marriages that lasted a long time. He
absolutely. Yeah.
was really in love with his ex-wife. Sydney was never, according to her, in love with her ex-husband.
And how many children later? 4?
4.
Yeah. That's an odd thing to say. So when you've had 4 children by someone.
Yeah.
But I guess it can happen.
Yeah. Sydney is questioning Mel, trying to figure out what his feelings are. Is he leaning towards Peg more? And Mel is very vague, when he says that relationships develop over time.
Yes, he made that very clear.
And there are, moving parts.
And didn't he also make it clear that there's someone else involved?
He did.
Didn't he say that to her?
Yes.
Outright. And you know what? I love that.
Yes.
That was one of the few things I actually admire about him.
Yes.
Maybe he seems non-committal because he's not ready to commit.
Right.
And guess what? I appreciate that. If I'm in a relationship and I'm thinking, let's lock this down, and let's enter the contract of marriage,
Right.
If I'm thinking that way and you're thinking, I'd like to get to know you a little better, then I want you to share that with me.
Right.
Because look, I'm not trying to be married to anybody who's not ready to be married.
Right. And
you really don't want that relationship.
Yeah.
So,
and he's worrying. I mean, not he's worrying. Sydney is worried. Like, is Peg the reason that he seems distant?
But you know what? But she knows what this whole situation,
right.
What show she was applying for. She knew just how many people were involved. She knew everything.
And Mel says, if there's a will, there's a way. But Sydney says, so that begs the question, is there a will?
And guess what? And you will find out.
Yeah.
You can't push this man to say more than he's willing to say.
Yeah.
And you're not going to do that. See, to me, that's a turn off.
Yeah.
That is a complete
To me, she's
turn
acting
off.
too thirsty.
She absolutely is. And even with this whole so-called admission of so-called love, how deep is your love, and how long has this thing been going on? 2-3 weeks or whatever?
Yeah,
it
it
is?
hasn't been going on.
I mean, come on now. How was your love so deep in 2 or 3 weeks, and you was with this man for years and had 4 babies and never did get to love?
Right.
But now you see him, just because you in the twilight of your life, well, then, no. If I'm him, I'm looking at you sideways a little bit, because even if you are very attracted and you want to be in love with him, let's be realistic. You got to give it a minute.
You have to give it a minute to know if it's really love.
Right. It
may be lust.
Right. Absolutely. And especially a woman who has your experience knows that.
You would hope.
It's not like you in the 6th grade. Okay, this is not
She's
puppy
only
love.
in her 60s.
Right. This is not puppy love, and you're not old enough to be in your dotage, so you know what it is. And so to me, it rings disingenuous, and even if you think it's real, that's a problem.
Well, the episode ends before a second fantasy suite occurs, and so there's some uncertainty about Mel's decision. So we'll see.
Or even if Mel wants another,
But they show, I think they're trying to play games with us, because they show on the preview, he's talking to Peg. And he's like, I want to be honest with you about, my experience with Sydney.
Right.
And then they cut. So we don't know what happened.
Well, absolutely. So there's a bit of a cliffhanger going on there, but guess what? Mm-hmm. How many more episodes?
1.
All right.
So the season finale will be next week, November 12th.
Okay.
And I think it's a 2-hour finale.
Okay.
All right. So listen, guys, we want to know your thoughts on who do you think he's going to choose. Even though, it hasn't been a whole lot of episodes. There's only been 7 episodes so far. I think they have 8 total. It seems like this has been dragging. It seems as though they could have filmed it differently so that we could get more insight into the ladies. I would have liked to have seen that. But for some reason, it still just feels as though, it is not the emotional investment that I had from the first Golden Bachelor. Even though Gary Jerry turned out to be a little bit of a jerk, one might say.
Right.
But anyway, maybe Mel isn't really a jerk, but he started off being a jerk from the beginning, which, we mentioned that many, many times on who his preferred demographic would
right.
be.
Well, he may be actually the most honest, but we're just hoping the truth is not what he said in the beginning, because if he was speaking the truth about his aversion to women over a certain age, then he won't pick either one of them.
Right.
So let's just see what's going on. We'll find out.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back again, guys, next week to give you our update on the Golden Bachelor finale. Also, check out our updates on Married at First Sight and also our reviews on Christmas movies. And just check out the Bamgboshe Happy Hour podcast every Thursday and some Sundays. Take care, and we will see you soon. Bye. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and check out full episodes of the Bamgboshe Happy Hour